I remember the first time I hit six figures, I was so proud and happy. And then it was such a fleeting moment. I was still going to work every day, working long hours, not being able to enjoy this money that I'd worked so hard for. And I decided, I'm gonna take a break, I'm gonna do a career shift. One of the major aspects of my gap year was to travel. I had visited about 40 countries, but Lisbon felt like home. You'll get a lot of bang for your buck here. This is the moment in my life when I've made the least amount of money, but it's the most freeing life that I've had. My name is Shar Wynter. I moved to Lisbon to live my life on my own terms and as freely as possible. When I was living in the US, I was working as a consultant for Deloitte Consulting, primarily servicing financial services clients. I love the perks and benefits. You could travel and they paid for your travels. I loved how much I learned, but it was high burn. I did have some high burn projects where we were working 12-hour days and that was not like obscene. Like it was like, oh, that's just normal. The first time I moved abroad was to London. And then I went back to the States because it was only a temporary assignment. And immediately I'm like, oh, I don't like it here. And that was partially because I had gotten exposed to some new just lifestyle standards. So I'm like, why do I have to work on the weekends? I didn't have to work on the weekends in London. Then I would look at the people above me, they're working even harder than me. So I'm working to work harder and to have less time to enjoy this money that I'm gonna make. And then my dad passed away in 2018, and that was the turning point when I realized I don't wanna work myself to death. And then I started saving really aggressively. Like I moved into a studio, got a used car. Like I just dramatically reduced my expenses. I had an emergency fund, which I think anyone should have regardless of what you're doing in life. I had my gap year fund, and then I had set up a business fund because I said, I don't know what type of business, but when I want to start my business, I don't want to have to depend on anybody. I set a monetary amount for all three of them. And once I reached my goal, I was ready to quit. Oh man, so Lisbon chose me. I say this all the time. But I think it's a combination of the laid back culture, the food, we have the great weather, the fact that I don't need a car here. And I also want to support and live somewhere where I'm accepted, where my peace of mind, it can be prioritized and I can exist without lethal racism. The Black experience in Lisbon for me, as a Black American, has been very pleasant. And then the cost of living. I would not be able to live comfortably the way that I'm living in the US. My monthly budget is around 2.5K now, and before in the States, it probably would have been closer to 4 or even 5. I pay $1,100 per month for my place. I live city center, and it's a modern, proper full 1-bedroom, 2 full bathrooms, and it's furnished. Do you know, before this, I was in a studio in Atlanta, and I was paying $1,800. My private health insurance, that covers is quite a lot. That's one of the biggest reasons why I said I was moving abroad, because I refuse to be like one medical slip up away from, all my money going down the drain, like all my hard work. Once you get your finances under control, I think it makes it a lot easier to have space to pursue your creative and entrepreneurial desires and aspirations because you have time.
The expat app is kind of the perfect place to go for me if I'm thinking about traveling to a different city.
Yeah.
Because basically I want to know where are the Black people at and what are they doing?
When I was actually transitioning to Portugal, it was really helpful to see other Black people making transitions all over the world.
For me, it's about belonging and a sense of knowing that there's someone else who sees or experiences the world in a somewhat similar way to me.
If they want to find out where the Black community is or connect with someone who's Black and living abroad and who's an expat, they can just go into the app, put in the name of the location, and it'll pull up profiles of people. I'm in a ton of expat communities and travel communities. I just couldn't find insights about the Black experience, you know, because I do think that how we move through the world is very different. So I'm like thinking to myself, you know what? Since I can't find it, I'll just create it. And it was urgent in the sense of, you know, you had the uproar of people like, you know, like what they call Blaxit leaving the US. Here's an app for that too, to help you with your Blaxit. I have a whole company now. I mean, obviously it's not monetized yet, but the beauty is of that I actually had the time to build something beautiful. And that investment might have a return on investment that's in the millions. Whereas if I kept working, it would have had a cap at Deloitte. And in my mind, I won't just be chasing some dollar sign anymore. I'm chasing a lifestyle and freedom.